America as possible, like and then making it so that they're like trying to get it so they're drinking urine and feces. That's the most insane, evil thing, man.
What's up, nerds? What the heck? There we go. Still getting used to my fancy stuff. Do you like the fancy cam and
Yes.
the buttons and the... It's like a little studio in here.
We're becoming a slick operation that we never were before.
That's what the preacher man said about me. That boy's a slick operation there. Avoid him. He's a slick operation.
Your coat is a slick operation.
I had to get it. What do you guys think? You like this Baby I'm a Star jacket? In the words of Prince, Baby I'm a Star?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like
You helped pick it out. Actually, I think you spotted this.
I
and
did.
You were like, yeah, baby. It's got gold flecks in it. Changes colors. It's a hyper color with gold flecks.
Anything sparkly will catch my attention. I'm kind of like a raccoon or something in that.
Or a child who's distracted by baubles and trinkets.
Yes, shiny things. I like them.
Welcome to the Jay and Jamie show, even though it's not called that. We'll call it that tonight.
Okay.
And you are honored to be with us. And tonight we're going to be talking about Bloodline movies. It's all in the power. There's power in the blood. Forgive my Baptist hymns, but there is power in the blood. And we're going to talk about the symbolism of power in the blood. The life is in the blood, as Leviticus says. And we're going to talk about the weird elements in these movies. One or two of them we've touched on in the past, but we're going to reinvestigate, dive back into these, and let you know that we got some good news in terms of events, big events coming up. A live show coming up. Can you believe it? Another live event in Austin.
Yay.
And guess who's going to be there? BG Cumby is going to be doing comedy live. Can you believe it? BG Impressions by me for 3 hours. No actual BG, just no. BG in person.
Does BG do impressions or just you?
No, he does a different kind of comedy.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how to... He's the philosopher of comedy, and that's why he was perfect to come at our event, to our event. Don't you think?
Yeah, I'm excited to meet him. And I've got the talk called
Yeah, tell us about your talk.
All-Seeing AI. From the dawn of civilization to the future of technology and where it's going with the rise of artificial companions, sex bots, espionage. Okay. SEXBOTS. Bex socks.
We can't talk like adults on this thing over here.
No.
We have to pretend that we're children.
But also how that was all predicted by science fiction. Starting in the 40s and 50s with the UFOs and alien phenomena. And what does that have
You talking about SEX bots?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the promotion of science fiction, which got everybody interested in technology and technologies of the future. And then come the SEX bots a la Blade Runner. And we actually have another show in the works.
Yeah, we did, because we saw Megan. And there's another one coming out about dudes with robot wives. And we did Cherry 2000, 3000 years ago. It's in my second book. So a lot of predictive elements and predictive programming warming you up for your bot companion. So be ready for that. But yeah, we've got, the philosophy course is done. Yay. Happy to be done with that. A lot of work. It's a much better quality course, by the way, than somebody was like, your course does not cost any less than a community college course. Dude, do you think the quality of my stuff is community college? Go get your University of Phoenix degree, dog. All right? Because you don't fit in my class. You just failed. You just got an F in my class. Get out of here, boy. Head on back to the University of Phoenix.
Well, I think it's definitely worth the money. I mean, I listened to it.
She listened to the whole
from
thing.
The other room.
And fell asleep a lot.
Well, that's because your voice is soothing to me, but...
Other wives say that my voice puts them to sleep, so...
Before I fall asleep, I'm like, wow, this is amazing stuff. Because it teaches you how to think, critical thinking, why you're learning what you're learning, why philosophy is important, how to answer the really tough metaphysical questions.
Yeah.
I think this should be a prerequisite to any university education, and it's a really good deal in my opinion.
I like what you're saying. I like what you're saying.
Well, you don't have to like spend your gas to go to a class and spend the money on the class.
It's green. Yes. Like Greta says, don't spend your gas. How dare you?
Yeah.
It's green.
Yeah.
My university is lecture is green.
And you're funny.
University of Reason.
And you're interesting.
Funny and interesting. That some would take issue with that.
You're cute to look at. Like, it's the whole package.
We know that. We all know that much. Yeah. We know that much. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate the kind words. Yeah, she really did hear the whole thing from the other room for 12 weeks straight. Like, well, it was like 70 hours of work and then 12 weeks of lectures. So it's on sale now. And yeah, so if you are mad about the price, hey, it's a fully produced thing. We had, multiple other people involved in the project who also get paid for their editing and for their video work, their processing, audio editing, all of that. So, yeah, it's not totally my project. So sorry, everything's not free on the internet. I guess everybody thought, oh, I deserve an Escalade. I deserve everything free right here.
Well,
Swipe my EBT. Make your lecture free. Swipe my EBT. Right?
Yeah.
Or not?
I think it's a great resource. And you do a lot of free lectures. I mean, anybody can go on Discord and ask you anything they want. You spend, 8 hours sometimes a day doing that.
Well, have we not put out 10 years of $4.95 information almost?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry that I produced something that actually now requires, money. But if you want to get a good introductory analysis of philosophy, head on over there and do that. All right, let's get into our movies. And by the way, you can get tickets for the event. I'm sorry. I'm getting another cold because we are back from Florida and it was warm there and now it's cold here. And so the event is February 11th from 2 to 7 in Austin. If you want your tickets, get them there. BG will be opening with me doing comedy. And then Jamie will give her talk on Hollywood. And then I give my talk on the new book. And then we do the book signing. So that's the process of the show for the whole evening. We all hang out, chill. It ends up being a big party, right? Because, I mean, the last two events that we did were a big hit. We had 105 to 120 people at both events. And then I think this one will be bigger because we'll be in Austin, hometown of Lord Voldemort. So I think you all know who that is. By the way, big show coming up Tuesday over there on Lord V. And that'll be Tuesday night. And then big show coming up with Timcast. So look for that. That's going to be a big one. Big show coming up with Dr. Steve Turley. I mean, this is a power pack year, man. Things about to get buck. Things about to get unhooked.
They popping off.
They're about to get unhooked. Somebody said it sounds like you got vaccinated. That was a funny one. You don't have to. Actually, we should. You can't talk about that on YouTube. No V words, not allowed. Right?
Pokey pokes.
The pokey is the jail. Put you in the pokey. Or is that the po-po put you in the pokey?
If you get the pokey, you'll be in the heart of midnight.
The pokey is jail. You don't know that?
I never heard that.
Okay. What did you say the hippies call the police? I'd never heard of that.
6 up.
What does that mean?
Because like 6 bullets in a revolver. I don't know.
Is this the Wild West? I mean,
at Rainbow Gathering, that's what they call it.
Do the policemen fire like a revolver with like a? It's that sounds like a, I don't know, spaghetti western.
They have fired like rubber bullets at people at Rainbow.
They used to do that at the raves. They would bust in the raves
Yeah.
and rubber bullet the ravers. Like, if you guys would hit like and share, welcome everybody. You ready to get into the bloodlines?
Yeah.
The power in the blood, power in the blood.
Let's-
I feel like a preacher with this. I feel like a TV preacher with this song.
Yeah. You're like
Step into the water.
Righteous Gemstone.
Wait out a little bit deep. It does feel like Righteous Gemstone. I hate feeling like a preacher.
What is that song?
Preacher cringe, man.
Misbehaving.
Yep.
Remember that?
Uncle Baby Billy, Uncle Baby Billy Bob, Uncle Baby Billy. Yeah.
So.
Yes, thank you guys. See, it paid off. All you guys were mentioning me for Timcast for a year, and it finally paid off. That's how you get me on there. So you just keep doing it for a year, and then it'll happen. But yeah, I'm gonna wear this jacket on there, and I'm gonna preach TV preacher gospel.
Okay.
Like Kenneth Copeland.
Mm-hmm.
Bless God. Claim it, name it, claim it. You know what he does?
Yeah. What about?
Name it, claim it.
Can you do Joel Osteen?
I don't know. I've never heard him.
Oh.
Literally never heard him.
Billy Graham.
If you would, step on down to the altar. We're going to have an altar call. There's hot, fresh pizza down here. If you come down and give your life, we'll give you a slice of pizza. There's a hot slice of pizza down here at the altar. If you commit your life, you get a nice little cold Pepsi and a nice little slice of hot pizza. Come on down to the altar.
How's
I want
that?
to watch that Jim and Tammy Faye movie.
We did watch it.
There's another one, isn't there?
No, it has Jessica Chastain as Tammy Faye.
Oh, and Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, we watched that.
Oh, okay.
I did a podcast on it.
That was funny.
It was funny. Okay, so we're starting with Heart of Midnight. I'm still getting used to this. Look at this fancy stuff. Look at that.
Can you do your
But then it's over your head. Can you scooch over this way? Look at.
document?
But we
cam?
can also do it like this. Look at that. Fancy. Look how fancy this is, dude. Can you talk at this little creature here? This little robot man. This black robot man. Talk at him.
What do
Talk
the
at
other
him.
buttons do?
They do all the fancy angles. Look at this. See? So this is how I black out your face so we censor you.
Mm-hmm.
Censor Jamie's forehead. This is full screen where we see the whole movie,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is me and you in the corner watching it with everybody. Isn't that fancy? This is us full screen. Look at that. And then this is document cam. By the way, I found what I was looking for in the last stream. Remember when I was talking about James Bamford talking about underground bases and cities? And I couldn't remember. It was the other James Bamford book. I wasn't wrong about it being Bamford. I was wrong about which book. It's in his Shadow Factory book. And look at that, the document cam. Give me a document cam right now. Give me a document cam. See it right there? Crystal City. An underground NSA city in James Bamford's book. So there we go. Oh, I got to remember which ones do which. No. Full screen. There we are. See? Isn't that fancy? A document cam?
I like
This
it.
is the next level, man. I mean, all we lack next is a soundboard with monkey sounds and toilet flushes.
And fart noises.
And fart noises
Yeah.
for being wacky morning radio, right?
Yeah.
And that's everybody loves wacky morning radio. Isn't that what's funny?
No.
Oh, okay. You say so. Okay, so let's go to us in the. Give me us in the bottom corner. Oh, look at that! Look at that! I talked to the guys in the production room over there. Just kidding. We're in a library. In my library. There's no production room. Did you actually believe that? Look at that. Heart of Midnight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're gonna watch this with everybody. It's gonna be fun.
Okay.
And if I play the sound, it's going to ding the copyright. So there's no point in playing the sound. Okay, so this is a weird 1988 movie that we're going to kick it off with tonight. And this was recommended to us as a trauma-based mind control film by our buddies over at PsyOp Cinema. So shout out to PsyOp Cinema for recommending this one as a weird B movie about trauma-based mind control, keeping it in the family. Keeping in the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens to our friend Jennifer Jason Lee over here? Well, we'll check this out. So, what did you think of this? It was a lot weirder than
It
we
was
expected.
really weird, and
It's a B movie. I'm gonna warn you.
there's lots of nonsensical things in it.
Yes. It almost feels foreign.
Things that don't go anywhere. Like,
How do you like her momcore outfit there? She's dressed like Ellen in her first 90s like stand-up.
oh yeah, because she has been abused.
Yes. She's
So
traumatized.
she's trying to look masculine in some scenes, and then she tries to look feminine in others. And whenever she does that, she attracts unwanted attention.
Namely, Steve Buscemi.
Yes.
One of his early roles here as a slimy, greasy version of Steve.
No.
When does he ever not play slimy Steve Buscemi?
No one wants to get R-worded by Steve Buscemi. Like, that's...
But doesn't he play a
way
good slimy man?
Yeah. So
So tell us what's going on with
it starts out she inherits this old building from her uncle.
Yeah, which is the movie. Well, we think it's a movie studio, but it's not anymore.
It's like a nightclub
Right.
slash bar
The Midnight.
slash SEX club.
Yeah, it turns out it was an SEX club.
And they're renovating it. And so part of this movie is the misogyny that she has to go through with the construction workers disrespect her. The guys push her around.
I am
So-
misogynist, so let's not use these
So-
words. These are feminist words. It's a no-no word.
I mean, it's a real thing, but
I am a toxic masculinity misogyny man, so
they're always pushing her around. They don't listen to what she has to say, even though she's the, quote unquote boss.
But do you
So
think
all
this?
of
But
the
this girl
men-
is not fit to be a boss. So
Well, she's the owner.
that's
so
true. She's paying their bills. That's
Well,
true.
this is part of the movie, is that they're condescending to her because she's a woman.
Well, it's not just because she's a
and-
woman. She's actually manic.
That's true too. But so she's exploring this place that she's inherited, and there's like all these weird rooms.
Yes, and the rooms are related to various traumas, which we see that symbolism a lot, where it's like the psyche is the different partitions in your head where you've stored traumas and memories, right?
Yeah. So yeah, your whole house is your psyche, and we're going to talk
Right.
about that at the end, and when we talk about Hereditary.
Yes.
So this has the same kind of
Very common in
themes.
horror stories.
Yeah. Another thing is it's under a bunch of power lines. Did you notice that?
I did not.
So the building itself is like, you think it's haunted,
Right.
but it is kind of cursed in a way.
Well, it's had a lot of dark energy there.
Yes, dark energy.
And we
that's
find out, what was really going on is even worse than what we think.
So she talks to herself. This is the preview? Dang.
It's just flashing things.
Oh.
Right. Eliminate, confirm.
That big eyeball.
Eliminate, confirm.
So she talks to herself. Her different rooms are different memories. There's a pillow SEX room with cameras and TVs. There's
So it turns out they were filming events.
yeah.
Filming the coitus there.
And there's a weird apple room.
Yeah, well, the apples being the symbol for, right, taking a bite. It's also a symbol of sexuality because it's the fall. But it's what the uncle, who's the villain figure here, right, did. He would dangle these apples above her crib when she was young, and then when she got older, she was SA'd.
The movie's called Heart of Midnight. Somebody asked.
Yes, the 1988 film Heart of Midnight. It's kind of a B movie, kind of like USA Up All Night level movie, right?
Yeah.
But it does have these weird elements in it. It's one of Steve Buscemi's first movies. These bizarre trauma-based mind-controlled themes. There's a lot of B movies like this, actually. I mean, Society is a B movie that's about that we're going to talk about in a second.
There's Room of Boob.
Room of Boob, right?
Yeah. There's Grandma's Closet. There's the Mirror Room. So, I fell asleep and missed that part.
Yeah, so they're going to use her, and you think that Peter Coyote, who plays the detective there, you think he's the bad guy. So spoiler alert, he's not a bad guy. He's actually trying to figure out what's really going on, and the other bizarre element to this is that I'm going to go ahead and spoil it because I imagine most people are not going to watch this movie. I don't really recommend this movie. I wouldn't call it a good movie at all. It's just odd for the themes that are in it. And so when we come to find out what's really going on, it is this character here, who is a transitioned person, is living in the walls. So it's like people under this. It's like transitioned people under the stairs. Remember the people under the stairs?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and it turns out that this person was abused in this place and grew up there and was filmed.
Right.
And so it's another traumatized person, and this person is gaslighting and doing psyops on Jennifer Jason Leigh from within the walls.
Part of the horror of this movie is that she...
Well, that's horrible. That's
I know.
horrific right there.
Is that she has no one to turn to because she's known for her psychological breakdown, so no one believes her when she says that 3 people broke in and tried to R-word her.
Right. Well, Peter Coyote believes her, though, eventually. The detective, yeah.
Right. And then you think that a ghost is helping her, but it's actually this person living in the walls, right? Frogging.
Well, it's like non-binary froggers.
Yeah.
Because the frogs have been turned G-A-Y.
Yes.
The chemicals have turned the non-binary froggers gay.
And the police aren't helpful, too, because of the reputation of the building itself and her family, her uncle, really, who's was the master creeper of the town.
Yeah, and the ineffectual police chief is Frank Stallone, who just sits around playing guitar. But Peter Coyote knows something is up, and so he goes ultimately to help Jennifer Jason Leigh and solves the mystery, which is that there's non-binary people living in the wall.
She has flashbacks of her uncle doing weird things.
Correct,
to her
because
in the cribs.
Well, you missed the part at the end when the non-binary person from under the stairs reveals everything. It reveals that it was abused 1,000 times, whereas Jennifer Jason Leigh was abused a few times.
Oh, okay.
And so it's exacting revenge because it had it worse.
Right.
And has had to live in the walls.
The detective even hits on her.
Well, he's...
Remember, he's like,
he
it's
does,
hard to work around you because
well,
you're attractive.
But he's like the knight in shining armor, right? And he, like, when she fixes up the club at the end, there's healing, and they have a nice dinner.
Okay.
So she finds healing and love.
Okay.
Is the point. Because he's her rescuer. But...
Because she was pretty adamant about how she hates sex and doesn't like to be touched because of her ABU-SE, probably.
SA.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a film about bloodline trauma, intergenerational SA.
Yeah, and TRAFF.
Yes, because this other person was filmed.
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of the storyline. So, not recommending this movie. I mean, it doesn't show anything. I don't even think there's boobs.
Just the room of boob.
But does it even have a boob in there?
There's cartoon corn. That's it.
There's cartoon boobs,
Yeah.
So, if you're tempted by cartoon boobs, which I don't find that at all tempting, so it's just a weird movie, and it's not very good. It's a bizarre B movie.
It leaves a lot of things unanswered, like why did they do that? Like why does she have a broken foot? I wonder if she actually had a broken foot.
Could be.
So yeah, Heart of Midnight. That was
very weird dialogue, very weird editing. It might have been foreign made. I don't know, but
we'll give it a W for.
All right, we're gonna move on past Heart of Midnight. What's our next one? This was another
Some
weird
Girls.
one. Really weird stuff going on in this, right?
Yeah. Some Girls, 1988. So same year as Heart of Midnight. You got Patrick Dempsey, and Jennifer Connelly.
J-Con.
And he travels to Canada to try and win her back or woo her.
Right. So we have a very wealthy French Canadian Catholic girl from a wealthy elite bloodline who out of nowhere leaves college, some uppity Quebecian college, and goes back home to her estate, basically a castle, out in the middle of I don't know where in France, and her boyfriend Patrick Dempsey here, who is an insufferable goober throughout almost all the film, decides to hop on a plane and chase her down to try to win her back over Christmas, which is just now in this movie just gets weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder. I do not recommend this movie unless you're looking for I want to watch something just completely weird. That also kind of sucks. if that's what you're in for, and it also has an element of gross. This is the movie for you, because I can't imagine who came up with this as a good. This is a terrible idea for a movie. By the way, it was a flop, and Robert Redford was the producer of this weirdo thing.
It was creepy in that. Well, the boy is just trying to get laid.
Mm-hmm.
By Jennifer Connelly.
He's trying to touch butts.
Yes.
But he does like Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah, so he's just doing what typical, high school boys do.
They're in college.
Yeah, or whatever college.
Yeah, but she's gaming him.
Yeah.
She's totally messing with him.
Well, the whole
on
family
purpose.
is. We find out.
Sort of, yeah.
The three sisters at least.
Right.
And this one isn't really about like SA or anything like super dark. But it's just kind of a commentary on how weird society people are.
It is, but it also has an element that I did want to get into, which is the idea that a lot of the elite and wealthy families, I think there's some truth to this, believe in reincarnation, and they will justify intergenerational relations and these kinds of things to keep it in the family, because many of them believe that they're reincarnated. For example, if you read the Rockefeller's biography, one of the Rockefeller daughters was convinced by Carl Jung that she was the reincarnation of one of the pharaohs. Okay? Mm-hmm. If you read books about the history of the Rosicrucians, Francis Yates's, classic Rosicrucian Enlightenment, a lot of the people at that time, Renaissance elites, were believing in reincarnation. If you think about the period when, in the Italian Renaissance, Platonism came back into vogue, a lot of the elite families, Borgias and these kinds of people, right? They were getting into Renaissance magic, and the revival of Plato and Platonism also was connected with reincarnation, okay? And a lot of those groups also get into weird SEX stuff, right? Especially the elites.
Yeah.
Okay.
As we will see in society.
Right? And so, even though it's not explicit in this film, it's a romantic comedy, a coming-of-age rom-com. It's not funny at all. It's weird and gross, and the dad in the family, who is, I guess, we don't know where the money comes from, but the dad is this famous author who is an atheist Marxist, and he's referenced in the film many times as an atheist Marxist. There's actually scenes where you see the hammer and the sickle. The mom is this weird, very uptight traditional Catholic, and they have this tremendous amount of money. And so they seem to enjoy just playing mind games with people, right? Kind of like if you watch the Magus, the Michael Caine, the film version with Michael Caine, where he's the toy as a college guy being played with by this Greek billionaire, this sort of Aristotle Onassis type of character, right? And so there's a similar theme here of the person outside of this world who's brought. It's like Bill Harford, right? It's this theme of it's kind of an Eyes Wide Shut type of thing, right?
Yeah, he's just bumbling through.
And he's dating this, way levels above him in terms of social society, right? And you notice at the beginning, you think it's the three Graces, these sisters, because they match up to the Botticelli painting in the background, right? And this Botticelli painting comes up again in the film and at the very end. And I don't think it's the three Graces. I think they're supposed to be the three Fates, and they're supposed to be kind of like witches.
Oh yeah.
Like the three witches in what? It's not the Tempest. It's the other Shakespeare film.
Double, Toil and Trouble.
And then there's the three Fates. Yeah, Macbeth. There's the three Fates, and then that's what they end up being. And there is a lot of sort of esoteric and sex elements in this. For example, Jennifer Connelly's bedroom is this weird medieval secret door. The Secret Garden. I don't know if you guys know that. That's a classic
metaphor.
theme for a lady's garden.
Yeah. With a unicorn on it.
And the unicorn is also, that's actually a medieval archetypal symbol for the chase. Chasing the unicorn is part of the sexual chase, biological chase, right? And so he goes in but nothing ever occurs. And when at one point he goes in there and he finds the whole family sleeping together. What?
Underneath a triptych icon. That's weird.
Yeah, and so there's the Renaissance art and icons everywhere. In fact, most of the sex scenes, which they're not explicit, they don't show anything, but the things that you think are about that, they're always in front of religious imagery, which is very bizarre. It's Renaissance kind of ideology, and it's Renaissance ideology that revived this idea of reincarnation for Plato.
Did you mention the dad is always naked?
The dad is a total Marxist bohemian. He represents total liberation.
Yeah.
And he knows Patrick Dempsey is basically, because he gives up trying to get with Jacon, right? And then he just tries to go for the other ones, right? Because the other sisters are flirting. And then at one point the dad's like, how many of my daughters have you slept with? And he's like, one. He's like, okay.
All three of them tried at some point.
Well, the younger one I don't think did, but she was flirty.
Yeah. Well, the younger one got in his bed.
No, it was the older one.
Oh.
But the younger one just came in the bathroom, and when he would be, that's the older one, right?
Yeah.
So to make a long story short, I mean, you want to look at the notes and tell us if there's anything. So here, look, there's the dad, and by the way, you see right there on the book, which is an odd placement, right above on the book stand is a hammer and sickle. So they intentionally placed the hammer and sickle there. See it? All right. So what is there anything else in the notes there?
Well, the ending is really weird because the whole entire third act is about Granny and finding Granny.
Yes, this is where it gets really weird.
Who has dementia, and so they rescue her from the cold, and he brings her in, and he has to warm her up by taking all her clothes off beside the fireplace. So it's just weird.
It's very gross. And at one point, Patrick Dempsey actually says, "I'm in love with her."
The Granny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And so Granny dies, and they all have to go to the funeral, and then he goes to put flowers on the grave, and reincarnated Granny comes and makes out with them on the grave.
No, they don't make out, but
they kiss.
So
They have
reincarnated
passionate
Granny,
kiss.
right? And so I think so Patrick Dempsey's character is named Michael, which is Granny's husband's name, who died a long time ago, right? So, I had this idea, maybe we should set up incels with lonely dementia grandmas. And Jamie didn't think that was a good idea, so I don't know.
Why would you do that to
Try to
grandmas?
give people, because incels can't
Grandmas
get girlfriends, and
don't deserve that.
then Jamie said that wasn't fair to grandmas, so I guess that's not a good plan. But I was gonna have a matchmaking site. By the way, I'm in love with your grandmother. I realized that I don't love you anymore, and I was in a past life your grandmother's.
So was he her
Lover.
grandfather in a past life?
It's just hinted at. We don't know. That's why this movie is so terrible.
Oh, okay.
It's just not funny. It's weird and gross and bizarre. But it has the theme of elite families and bloodlines, right? And weird intimacy that's perverse
Yeah.
because of their philosophy. The other thing that was really odd is that this film has a lot of literary references. So the dad is writing a book on Blaise Pascal's Pensées, which is odd because Pascal was, I think, a Jansenist, and the Jansenists were radical Augustinians who, were very puritanical in their sexual views, because Augustine, of course, said that due to libido dominandi, that sexuality was always a sin, even in marriage. He couldn't see how it wasn't sinful even as a sacrament. So the dad is writing, who's always nude, is writing his famous book on Pascal, right, from Pascal's Wager. So I don't know what that's supposed to mean. It's just bizarre, but it's like the circles of the elite who don't care about the normal. What Patrick Dempsey cares about normal things, right? He wants to finish college, and he's worried that Jacon won't finish college, but she's probably, they're probably billionaires or whatever. So she doesn't even care, right?
Yeah.
And her whole life is playing games with people. People are toys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Patrick Dempsey can't fathom this.
She's not even fazed that the other sisters are flirting with him.
Well, when Patrick Dempsey sleeps with the other sister, Jennifer Connelly's like, oh, I already knew. I don't care. She told me she was going to.
Right. Oh, and she keeps on like going hot and cold on him the whole movie. Like, I love you. No, I don't love you. Oh, I think I do love you. No, I was wrong.
Because she's gaming him.
Right.
And how come everybody's always hanging out in Dad's bedroom? It's just freaking weird.
Yeah.
Now, they always kiss on the mouth, but I don't know. That's like do French people kiss on the mouth? Is that a French thing?
Yeah.
Even family members? I know Middle Eastern people do it, right? But is it a French thing? I don't know. What do you think?
They be French kissing.
I'm not French kissing my family members, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think that the point of this terrible movie is that the elite have a different philosophy, a different worldview, and for them, if you're either in the family or you're not, right? Almost like it's like a family version of a coven.
It's a cult, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a family cult, right?
Yeah. I don't know why, but this movie reminded me of that Ready or Not movie.
It is like that, except that, nobody's getting killed.
But
right?
That movie could easily go into this category, Bloodlines and SA and
Well, that's why
SRA.
I included it.
Yeah.
Because I don't even remember. It just popped up one day looking for 80s movies, but I don't know. Do you know what? So she restores art, but I can't tell what piece that is, but it looks like some Renaissance art piece. But I mean, all of this weird religious / sex stuff, that's all Renaissance art because it's influenced by Renaissance magic.
Mm-hmm.
So people think, oh, that's Dan. No, it's not Dan Brown crap. Dan Brown, it's like the real version of the Dan Brown stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. You said this movie also reminded you of that Nicole Kidman movie Birth.
One of the other worst movies ever. Do not watch this unless you like something like Benjamin Button. But in that, have you guys seen this? Right, it's the same theme. Nicole Kidman finds out that her husband has reincarnated as a kid, and the kid is like, "I love you. You're my wife. I'm 10 years old, but I'm married to you." Right? It's like, what? It's just weird and gross, and I don't know if it was a hit or not, but I remember watching it. Jamie had never heard of it, but there's also a lot of weird architecture in these people's house. It's like this. It's almost like the whole house is a Gothic cathedral, right? It's like a medieval Gothic cathedral, which is intentional.
Art Nouveau and a lot of peacocks and
Right. And who actually sleeps with that kind of crap on? I mean, this is
Donald
like
Duck.
cartoon garb, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, why? And he's sleeping with a giant alarm clock like a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
This is just bizarre, and it's not funny. It's billed as a comedy. There's nothing funny in it. But I did notice that. Okay, so it's the Oxford Film Company. That's odd. And there are film companies that are basically intelligence fronts. So London Films, I think Richard talked about that in one of the recent Grand Theft World podcasts. Shout out to Richard. Our interview will be coming up Monday. But I'm talking a lot. You need to talk. You speak up here. What else is going on? Anything else? Is this teaching elite reincarnation gross gibberish?
Yeah.
Okay. If you would hit like and share.
The next one that we're going to talk about, it was actually a good movie.
As a film, it was well made.
It surprised me.
It's kind of gross, but
yeah. But it had a lot of things in it called Hellbender.
Got it ready to go.
2022.
Correct.
And
No, 2021.
Oh.
But good enough.
So this one is about witch bloodlines and the Hellbender bloodline. And it is a female, what's that called? Parthenogenesis? Where they like can have their own baby without...
Butt babies?
No, not butt babies. So the Hellbenders are female witches that have female children.
Yes.
By spontaneous...
Generation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like ferns. She's teaching the girl.
Okay. Fern is not just a grandma name,
No.
right?
Yeah, Hellbender. And so it starts out with like Salem witchcraft, where they're trying to kill a witch.
Right. Which I'm really tired of that.
And the
Aren't
only
you?
way to kill these kind of witches is for the younger witch to devour
the older one.
Right.
So here we are. Oh, shocker, Salem, right?
Yeah.
We'll never live this down, which, by the way, I'm of the opinion that the Salem witch stuff is a psyop. I think that the people doing it were probably the real witches, these Puritan creeps.
Right.
That they had witchcraft in their bloodline. That's my theory about this nonsense, because I think the Puritans now are actually worse than anybody else. They were crazed Calvinist psychos. But, so, you'll notice here, right, this is Salem times. They're getting rid of, well, they think they're getting rid of them, right? But this is actually a, what'd you call them? They call them the Alpha Witch, or some ridiculous like that.
Mm-hmm.
What are they called?
I don't know.
She calls herself the Alpha Witch.
I didn't hear that part.
Yes, she says that.
Okay.
You must remember
So,
every line in the dialogue.
You think that the mom is the villain trying to keep the daughter from the world.
Right.
Like,
From
at first you think
chilling
it's
and
going to be
partying.
like some kind of Munchausen by proxy situation where
Yeah, you think she's, yeah.
she tells the daughter that the daughter can't go around society because she's ill. But you come to find out the mom is protecting the world from the daughter instead of the daughter from the world.
Yeah, and that's a classic kind of horror theme where that's the twist, that's the flip. Shocker, spoiler alert, the daughter is the one to be afraid of because she's the more powerful witch, and she has the potential to devour the older witch.
Right.
So the older witch is keeping the powers down of the younger witch, and she's been raised as a vegetarian, and that's the first thing we noticed that first on at the beginning she's eating what vegans eat.
Like twigs
She's
and berries.
eating a pine cone, dude.
Yeah.
You want a nice hot pine cone for dinner? It's not. It's an actual pine cone.
I know.
And then the mama witch is like tripping shrooms and getting visions, right? Seeing into the ether and burning up the patriarchy, turn them into dust.
Right. Well, the daughters finally makes a friend, and they do stupid kid stuff, and she ends up eating a worm, and that's when her powers come out.
Yes.
And because there's blood, now she's ingested, and she's come of age in her witchiness because of the blood.
So they put a worm in her tequila, which, by the way, it's not the worm that comes with the tequila. Those are free, and those are good. This is a living worm. And yes, I used to do you ever swallow the worm? I swallow the worm. This is not that worm. This is a living worm, right?
Yes. That's it.
And this makes her trip out even harder because she realizes that by eating the essence of living things, aka the blood, even though I don't know if worms have blood, but the idea here, that's where the story's going. By consuming the blood, there's life in the blood, and it's the energy and power, or the essence of the thing that you're eating, right?
Well, her mom even has a scene where she explains that the magic comes from the fear of the victim in the blood.
Yeah, which is the basis behind the adreno,
Yes.
you know what.
Right.
Yeah.
So that stuff makes the daughter trip out, gives her magic powers, allows them to see, sight beyond
astral
sight.
project. They do astral projection.
And then they're tripping on caterpillars. It gives them Sauron vision. And then, so the mom has to now train the daughter in the witch ways because she's awakened her powers.
Right.
So the second part of the movie...
She's initiated.
Right. Is the mom explaining how all of this works.
Mm-hmm.
And that there's power in the blood, and it gives them... she says that there's no right or wrong, just nature. Right?
Which is actually a Crowleyan dictum.
Yes. And a Masonic thing, too. But the mom has chosen to kind of subdue her powers for the sake of not being totally wicked.
Right.
So the mom is just trying to live a peaceful life. She's like 150 years old.
That's why she's a vegetarian.
Yeah. So she
Just eat pine cones. You know witches can eat pine cones?
she fasts so that her powers aren't as
Right.
powerful. And the daughter just goes off the deep end with it because she doesn't know how to.
Well, she
discipline
starts eating
herself.
roly-polies.
Yeah, so she's tripping on.
She's like, give me
caterpillars.
some more caterpillar blood, baby. Give me some more roly-polies.
And then bigger victims come along.
Then she
and-
starts eating, you know,
Right, the
peeps.
bigger the victim, the more the power, and then you go to the human.
Not just marshmallow peeps. Peeps as in your friends' peeps.
Yes. So she eats the peeps, and then she goes fully like witch. She can fly. She can.
Well, did you notice the part with the hand and the key? That was an interesting element because it's sort of Christ-like, right? So she's not Christ, but it's like this is a apotheosis of the female god, the dark goddess archetype. Okay, so she's way worse than her mother keeper woman, right? And when she's going into the astral realm, she goes and she puts her hand on a door where the symbol is, which is it's a portal symbol that allows you to either go to another dimension or see another place, right? That's how the astral projections through this symbol, which is like an eye, and it's also a symbol of the circle and the square, which is the cardinal points. It's the world in the cardinal directions, right? So it allows you, it's like a, remote viewing / surveillance camera. It's a witch surveillance camera. But when she puts her hand on the door, a key comes out of her hand like a crucifix, like she's being nailed to the wood, right? And this is when she's in the astral realm to access that room where there's a secret hidden book. And she finds out the history of her witch secrets, and she devises her plot to entrap the mom.
Right.
Through this astral realm, but this is when she's initiated. She finds this key, comes out of her hand. She opens this door, finds the secret book, the secret gnosis, the secret knowledge, figures out who she is. So it's like this inner illumination, Illuminati, Gnostic thing. Then she realizes, oh, I'm actually the Kali goddess, who's like the worst woman goddess.
Kali.
Calypso, Kali. I'm Kali, bitch.
Yeah.
She's girl bossing it up as Kali,
Well,
right?
what's interesting is
Kali
that
Ma, Shaktite.
the grandma ate half the village, and so
Kali
the mom,
Ma. Can I take your heart out?
No.
Shaktite. You ever seen Temple of Doom?
Yeah.
Am I the only person to have seen Temple of Doom?
What was I saying?
I keep cutting you off with
He's trying to take my heart out.
Molaram, Sularam, Molaram.
The Black Death of Kali.
You drink that, wake up. Right. Yeah, if you drink these witch bitch concoctions, wake up. To quote Zalim Singh, the Prince of Panko.
Okay, so they're evolving. The grandma was evil, and she ate half the village, so
Yes.
she had to go. So the mom
Right.
had to eat the grandma. Mom tries to live peacefully with nature and other people. The daughter is inheriting the grandma's
Right.
spirit of, total power and witchery.
Right.
And she wants to be bad and embrace the dark side.
Right. This is the company that made Chucky, by the way, and that's why she's dressed as Chucky in one of the scenes. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like a story about the triumph of the younger generation being,
Well, it's the
Evil.
cycle of nature, man.
yeah,
Circle of life, man.
and devouring the older generation and being worse. Right?
Well, it's revolution and rebellion.
Yeah.
Right? She's a Hellbender. That's the name of their band. And when you're watching at the beginning, you're like, why is this chick in a band with her mom, dude? That is weird. Right? But then you find out, no, it's actually not her mom. Right?
Yeah, it's her mom.
No, she found her. She's not her mom. She was committed to her. She's a guardian.
The witch?
Mm-hmm.
No, she had her like.
No, they're
confirmed.
not. They're not bloodlines.
What are you talking about?
You mean you said she was a butt baby?
No. She didn't find
What
it.
Alex was talking about butt babies the other day. No, she was given to her. Didn't find her.
When?
It's not her real mom. I don't know. Maybe I misheard it. Maybe you're right.
No, that's her real mom. She says they just give birth.
She says
Like a
you're like
fern.
me. You're one of us.
Yeah.
She doesn't say you're mine.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Okay.
But I didn't think she was her mom. I thought she was her guardian.
No. It was a grandma, mom, and daughter.
Okay.
And she just had her spontaneously. Maybe that's what you're talking about.
Okay. Maybe I misunderstood.
And then the only way that the older witch can die is if the younger one eats them.
Right. But the younger witch decides that if she eats her, she's going to give birth to a butt baby witch that will eat her.
Yes. So she keeps the mom in a cocoon stasis.
So crawl into that was the trick, was to lead her into the cocoon.
Yeah.
To trap her.
Right.
Which is in some hole in the basement, right?
Yes.
So
So she can go out and eat people.
Because that makes her more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what did you think of that? So
it
is a
was-
bloodline thing.
It was better than I thought.
Keep it in the blood, man.
Yeah.
Power in the blood. Now,
Creepy.
the reason that we chose these was because this is, again, a theme in a lot of esoteric societies. It's a theme that runs throughout history, right? That power in the blood. It's a biblical idea with the blood of Christ, with the Eucharist, with the ancient world, right? With blood sacrifice. By cutting a thing and letting the blood pour out, you have released the energy, right? Mm-hmm. By consuming it, you are consuming the energy. By consuming the heart, you're consuming the heart of your enemy. Mm-hmm. There's places in countries today that still do this. John Bodel Bokassa, the famous dictator in Africa, did this. He still ate people up into the 90s, right?
Yeah.
And Crowley talks about it. Crowley says you can devour the heart of your victim. I think it's gross. You're not supposed to do this. Don't do this. A lot of y'all out there thinking about, I'm about to have some hearts tonight.
No.
Don't eat kidneys and hearts. Put that down.
That's why
Put it
we
down.
have communion, so we don't have to do all this crazy stuff.
Exactly. Well, it put an end to all that, right?
Yeah.
The gospel does, right?
Yes.
And that's why the Bible, by the way, forbids eating the blood, because the life is in the blood. Mm-hmm. And that's also continued in Acts 15 in the New Testament. A lot of people don't know that. There's a good article by Father John Whiteford on that, by the way. If you've never read that, go read his essay on why we don't eat blood, even in the New Testament. And it's because of what we're talking about. It's because of this principle that the life is in the blood. And you're not supposed to consume a living thing.
You brought that classic book, Bloodlines of the Illuminati.
I did, just for fun, right? Bloodlines of the Illuminati. That's my Fritz Springmeyer impression of Bloodlines of the Illuminati. Remember this?
Yeah.
Conspiracy Classics,
Yes.
right? 1993, Bloodlines of the Illuminati. But yeah, I mean, that's the theme of that book, is kind of, I mean, it's not about, well, it does talk about human sacrifice, but it's not about that. It's about, this is the idea of passing on not just your family tradition, in the words of Hank Williams Jr., but magical bloodlines, noble blue bloods. That's the idea.
And now it's backed by more discoveries about things like epigenetic memory. And so these traits can be passed, and they do
Because,
want to keep
well,
it.
the DNA, right,
Yes.
is in your blood.
Right. So that
Remember, we didn't talk about this one tonight, but this is a classic. Remember this? Mm-hmm. This is also about bloodlines of the Illuminate confirmed.
and they're vampires.
Right.
They're Illuminati vampires.
But Wesley Snipes found out that the real vampires are not the bloodlines of the Illuminati, it's the IRS. Get it?
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I
They're
thought so too.
parasites. What's that other book you got? That black one.
This is The Next Million Years, which by one of the Royal Society elites, who is a perfect example of this, talks about, yes, we must keep it in the blood. He actually admits this in a whole section about the elites. This is why they're into eugenics, is to preserve the bloodlines of the Illuminati, right? Mm-hmm. And he says this is a principle that we've learned and passed down all the way back to Ptolemy. I don't know why he mentions Ptolemy, but specialized classes based on blood, secret royal bloodlines. Charles Galton Darwin has an entire section on that. So this is a real thing. This is straight from the British Royal Society elite right there. See it? Everybody see that? Give me a document cam. Here we go. Let's use our fancy document cam. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, yeah, baby. Look at that. Now, of course, I can't read my document cam, but y'all can. See that? Mm-hmm. What does it say? What do my notes say?
Said marriages were most strictly regulated so that it might have provided the starting point for a specialized breed.
It's breeding.
And that's exactly what they say that in Society movie.
Caste system, noble bloodlines, and then what does it say over here on this side? I can't read it from over here.
INCEST.
Oh, so this is why they do the INCEST. According to Charles Galton Darwin from the Wedgwood Huxley Darwin families. Mm-hmm. What does it say over here? What do my notes say? Ptolemy right there.
Breeds created for certain jobs, royal bloodlines. Inbreeding is essential for the production of a specialized breed. The most extreme case is that of the dynasty of the Ptolemies of Egypt, whose blood was counted as so sacred that the reigning house had to be perpetuated by brother and sister marriages.
What did I say?
Yuck.
And this is why the British elites, the Royal Society, they got so ugly and weird looking.
Yeah.
Look at the face of Aldous Huxley, man.
Well,
he makes Steve Buscemi look like a hottie.
Who's the most famous, like King Charles of Spain? You know that guy?
You've told me about him.
Yeah.
I looked him up when you told me about him.
And yeah, that was one ugly dude. So Society movie 1989 is all about this, and they even say that they are a different species, but they're not from outer space. But they are different than humans.
I've never... Fear plays a large part in family life.
This movie's about Billy Warlock.
That's Billy Warlock, and he's eating an apple, the very first scene.
Mm-hmm. And he...
Oh, wait, they can't see it.
He has to go to the therapist because he is literally terrified of everybody around him, his family.
Traumatized.
Adults, family members. He's scared of all of them, and the therapist is gaslighting him, telling him they're irrational fears.
Right.
So just like any evil therapist, he's got the voodoo mask on the wall. So if you go to a psychiatrist and he's got like African masks and crap and artifacts, turn around and leave. Right?
I like Jamie's way to identify which psychiatrist to choose and not choose.
Yes.
Like, what masks do they have on the wall? I like that.
If they have ugly African brown, like,
right,
with evil faces. Yeah.
Okay.
So the sister in this is overtly sex.
What do you think of Billy Warlock's mullet? That's pretty hardcore.
I kind of like it.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, I guess Theo Von brought mullets back, so I guess we have to like it now.
So she's always flirting with the brother.
Right.
In inappropriate INCEST
Well, later
ways.
we find out she's supposed to sleep with her bro.
There are many creepy innuendos about it. The friend has caught on to some of this, and he's trying to warn. Oh, that came up in the Hellbender movie. So that was one last thing I wanted to say about that was that. What just happened?
Light went out. Don't worry about it.
She feeds her daughter maggots because maggots are so potent because the flies feed on death, and that
they're parasitic. And that's what when he bites into the apple, right? Look.
Yeah.
See, it's the same thing.
Right. So, and the flies are connected to the devil because he's the Lord of the Flies.
Beelzebub.
Right.
Correct.
So.
Beelzebub. I've already had my mullet. I had a mullet like a year ago. Did you guys not see it? I mean, I put up pictures of me in a mullet. So where you guys at?
The friend who is suspicious of all of these people, he kind of like records a party that they have, and it's actually like an Illuminati ORGY.
Right.
And
Illuminate firm.
where in a debutante kind of way, the sister has to sleep with someone in her coming out way. First someone her own age, then the
Right.
the father, and then everybody else.
Exactly what Galton Darwin's talking about.
Yes. And meanwhile, someone is doing voodoo on Billy. And everywhere he turns for help, doctors, judges, police,
they're all in on it.
Yes, they're all in on it, and they gaslight him.
Right.
So this is kind of similar to Eyes Wide Shut.
Right. Well, and that's Bill too, right? Bill
Right.
in that movie, everywhere he turns, they're all part of the same cult.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he meets this other girl who he thinks that is gonna, be the good partner.
Right.
But she has a weird mom, and she's also part of the cult.
Of course.
And when we did a show about this like 7 years ago, we were talking about how
Look, it's doing the satanic.
yeah, and it's chasing.
It's
him
a giant hand that's doing the satanic
Yep.
sign with a hand with a hand.
Mm-hmm.
Hands of hands. Illuminate confirm. Yeah, this is a classic B movie that is Illuminate confirm if you've never seen it. What else? Did we miss anything else?
The weird mom character that's kind of a dud.
What do you mean? Why is she a dud?
Because she acts like a slow boy. Do you remember that?
Oh, you mean the one that is a dud, like not effectual for the family?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's part of the cult, but she's just like not in it really.
Yeah.
So the cult runs the therapy, they run the psych ward,
The cops.
they run the cops.
They changed the crime scene.
At the climax of the movie, they talk about they're a product of good breeding. They are a different race, species, and class.
Yes, exactly. A lot of parallels to Eyes Wide Shut, by the way, which Jamie and I talked about. We covered this movie 7 years ago, so it's weird to revisit one of the Jay and Jamie classics.
They say, "Don't you know the rich have always preyed on the poor?" And so you come to find out that Billy is actually adopted, and they have raised him to be food. And when they have their like devilish ORGY, they all glom together in a giant.
Because they're like an alien, basically.
Yes.
They're a parasitic alien Borg
Slimy
species.
Borg.
And there's a butt guy.
They have butt babies.
And there's a butt guy that talks out of the butt.
At one point, the dad's butt and his head is replaced or like switched.
I just said a butt guy.
Yeah.
That's him.
And we were talking about how this reminded us of those.
It's Hieronymus Bosch. It's actually a medieval way to paint the devil and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And there's also like other woodcuts about the butt-faced devil, butt kissing, and this is related to the scandal of the Knights Templar and what the Pope accused them of way back in the day.
Right.
Kissing the ANUS of the DI.
Of devil, yeah.
Yes. So I bet you didn't know that.
Did you know I was born as a butt baby?
Butt kissing is of the devil.
Don't be a butt kisser.
We were talking
And don't
about
have
that
butt babies.
because that has to do with Lom. Okay, so if you take that classic picture of Lom and you turn it upside down, it's a butt glob, which is what they're trying to do now to let MEN have.
Yes, don't be a bigot. Everybody can have a butt baby. Don't be a bigot. Correct.
Well, there are spells that require the mixture of SCMEN
Bodily fluids.
and
Right.
coming out your BUTT. Why do we even know this stuff?
Well, because it's all inversion to invert what's natural. Because the demons promote all of this stuff to get people degraded, going against their nature.
Yeah.
And that is what brings you into their orbit.
Because the way to transcend the good and evil is to do everything that you think of as gross. And that.
Well, that's why the elite, the elite traumatize their kids so that they can be raised with this as normal. It's a way to entrain them.
Yes.
Even Quigley talks about this.
So, in this movie, you have. Can you say this word?
Eating people.
Yeah. So you have eating people, and that reminds me of the Army Hammer scandal. And even mock eating people like Abramovich and Gaga.
Yeah.
There have been several reported parties where they have like people cakes. Tom Petty in his music videos eating Alice in Wonderland.
Right.
Do you remember that? So if they're not doing it in actuality, they're having mock
Right.
ceremonies that the public can say, oh, this is just art, or they're just being eccentric or whatever, right? Part of this movie also was the mom and daughter INCEST.
Right. So the film, it doesn't show any of this. I think it shows a butt or two or maybe a boob, but you get the idea. It's a goofy B movie. It's not really that, but it makes this point. So I would actually recommend Society. It's kind of in the vein of They Live.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to our last and most horrendous a movie that terrifies many people. I don't really think it's that terrifying. It's definitely gross and weird, and it's a serious horror movie now.
It's probably one of the top 3 scariest movies
A lot of people think so. It's kind of silly, but
that I've seen. You always fast forward the head part. You can't stand that.
that's just because the girl is ugly.
You said it makes your legs
It's a
hurt.
joke. Don't you think she's like the ugly? Like,
Well,
maybe they thought she's like the ugliest kid ever, so if she loses her head, it's not that big of a deal.
Well, I think that adds to the horror of it.
That she's super ugly. She's like the ugliest kid ever, don't you think?
Yeah, I feel pity for them. Anyways, movie starts out, grandma dies.
It's a movie. You can feel pity for the characters. It's not real.
Grandma dies.
And
so
grandma
this
was
is
a witch.
Bloodline movie again.
Bloodlines of the Illuminati, for sure.
And the mom is an artist. She makes models, and her model houses are her psyche.
Explicitly. In fact, part of the way that she deals with her traumas is to create miniatures of the traumatic events,
Yes.
including the scenes.
So grandma was secretive and private. The mom's giving this eulogy.
The grandma was abusive and schizophrenic.
Yeah. And you made this point that demons craft people like she is crafting her miniatures.
Right. Because the demons are setting this all up as a ritual to possess, spoiler alert, not the daughter, which is that you think this whole time the movie is about the daughter who loses her head. No, it's to possess the son, which is fascinating.
I think they did such a good job casting. I mean, Toni Collette, I don't know anybody else who could have played this like grieving schizophrenic mother better than she did. And then Gabriel Byrne, he always plays some kind of detective, like exorcist.
He's always in a devil movie, right?
Yeah.
Sixth Sense, Stigmata, yeah. He's
Like,
always in one of these.
some weird priest or something.
Right.
So they talk about being helpless pawns in a machine at school. So whenever they're having class, you got to pay attention because that's part of the movie. One of the literary works that they were critiquing was, I can't remember what it was, but it was about do we have free will, or are we just
Yeah,
at
or
the
we, it
hands of
was.
fate?
I think it was one of the Shakespeare stories that they're discussing, or it might have been Roman literature, Ovid, or something. But yeah, it's about fate or free will, and the point of the movie is that.
I think they were talking about Heracles.
Okay, but the son is the one that's cursed and doesn't have free will. He's destined to be the vessel for Paimon, who is one of the kings of hell, one of the dukes of hell, mentioned in the Keys of Solomon. And if you notice there in that picture, she doesn't even know that the significance of the necklace that she's wearing, which is her Satanist grandma, or her Satanist crazy mom's necklace she inherited, is the sigil of Paimon, right? So that would tell you right away if you kind of, knew about some of this esoteric stuff, what was going on. And there is the horrendous daughter who will lose her head, who's always drawing heads and always collecting the heads of birds. She cuts them off when they die, which is an omen because she is destined to be a sacrifice, right? And you'll notice there's the evil grandmother wearing the sigil necklace, right? Because it's not the daughter is just a sacrifice for Paimon to come. The son is the vessel.
The grandma wanted the son, but she couldn't get her hands on her because Toni Collette had gotten no contact when she had the boy. So
she raises the daughter.
Yes, at one point Toni Collette's going to group therapy and she's explaining her life story of her mom, and she said her mom had DID.
She calls her schizo too.
Yeah, grandpa died of starvation. Brother hanged himself and accused grandma of trying to put people inside him. So she was already trying to do this
ritual
with Toni Collette's brother, and he ended up unaliving himself.
So they did suicide programming, right?
Yes. So she went no contact with her mom, and then she had the boy child, and then like years passed and she forgave her mom, so she let her mom be a part of the daughter's life, and this is where the mom starts grooming the daughter to be Paimon. But the accident happens, so they have to go back to the first son.
It's Paimon doesn't want a girl body.
Right.
It says in there in the book that he wants a man body.
Yeah. But the grandma was trying to do something to the girl.
She was mind controlling her to be a sacrifice, is what I'm trying to tell you. She's an offering, I think.
Okay.
She's the blood offering for Paimon to come and get into the body of the son.
So, the trauma of the son killing the daughter by accident.
The son is the one that blames himself for killing the ugly kid.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, the teen boy, he's breaking all of the horror movie virtue rules. If you want to survive.
He also does this, yes. He commits all the vices.
He looks at butts, he smokes weed, what else?
By the way, our buddy that we just interviewed, Jamie Kennedy, I forgot that Jamie Kennedy gives the horror movie rules years before Cabin in the Woods did, right?
Yeah.
We should play that clip because I was cracking me up the other day, right? The horror rules. Yeah, here it is. Remember this or not? Do you remember this?
Yeah.
The horror rules. I should work on a Jamie Kennedy impression since we interviewed him. Oh, I'm so glad to see that. Look, healthcare.gov, isn't that sweet? They care about us. Do you care about them? They care about you.
No.
Yes! Predictable. I knew he was gonna bite it. How can you watch this shit over and over? Shh! When do we see breasts? I want to see Jamie Lee's breasts. When do we see Jamie Lee's breasts?
Breasts? Not until Trading Places in '83. Jamie Lee was always the virgin in horror movies. She never showed her tits till she went legits.
Could afford a decent pair.
What'd you say? That's why she always outsmarted the killer in the big chase scene at the end. Only virgins can do that. Don't you know?
See, only the virgins and the virtuous can get away, and right. And the brother in Hereditary, like the first time you see him in high school, he's like staring at butts, right? And then he smokes weed at the party, and you can't do that in horror movies. If you smoke weed or drink, you're marked by the demons. Then he tries to get out of his responsibilities, and this is unfortunately what leads to, which is to take the sister to the party. This leads to her death,
Right.
because she eats. He's not watching her.
She's allergic to nuts. And
She eats nuts. Yeah. So Jamie Kennedy is explaining the rules of horror years before Cabin in the Woods ever came out, right?
Jesus Christ, you don't know the rules?
Have an aneurysm, why don't you?
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. For instance, number 1, you can never have sex.
See? Virtue chastity.
Big no-no! no. Big no.
I'm a dead man.
Keep him in popcorn. Sex equals death, okay? Number 2, you can never drink or do drugs.
See, there we go, right? This is Cabin in the Woods is just borrowing from this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And dear Jamie Kennedy figured this out years ago in Scream.
No, the sin factor. It's a sin. It's an extension of number 1. And number 3, never, ever, ever, under any circumstances say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
I'm getting another beer. You want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back.
See, it's meta because he actually was a killer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and anyway, go ahead.
Let's see. They are all attracted to the treehouse before anything happens
Because
there.
the treehouse is this. It looks like a birdhouse, and it's the scene of the crime, of the ritual, and the possession.
Yeah.
And in Scripture, birds are also images of demons because birds fly in. There's unclean birds are called demons in Scripture.
So there's another thing about this movie that's in a lot of other movies is that the cult members can, well, everybody's in on it, so you don't come across anybody by chance. They're all contacting you from the cult, and you think that you're just meeting random people, but nothing is random. They
Right, well, the boomer woman that befriends her, right?
Yeah.
The boomer woman that befriends her at her therapy session is obviously one of the witches in the cult.
Mom sleepwalks. So there is a story that
This woman, right?
yeah, Toni Collette.
No, this is the boomer woman that's her friend,
Right.
the witch. I'm listening. Go ahead.
Toni Collette sleepwalks, and
Right.
one time she soaked the boy with paint thinner and herself, and she was about to burn them, but she woke up, and the dad and the son are now super suspicious of the mom because they think maybe the mom wants to kill the son.
But this is just an omen. You notice everybody's death is presaged by the omens that occur. So the little girl cuts off the heads of the birds that die, presaging her death. The mom is she dies by ultimately getting burned up, and she beheads herself as well. But sleepwalking is emblematic for possession.
Okay.
Because somebody else is driving you.
Oh, right.
So she's ending up possessed at the end, right? And
Yeah.
loses her head because having a head, the head of the family, right? And the Gabriel Byrne character, who would be the man we think is the head of the family, he also ends up dead. He ends up immolated, which is a burnt offering, a form of sacrifice. So essentially everybody in the film is sacrificed to Paimon to bring Paimon, except for the son, who is the vessel for Paimon to have a body.
Dad is kind of unfazed throughout most of the movie.
Yeah, he's a worthless character. So losing your head is a symbol of the family losing its leader.
Yeah.
And so they crown a new head, Paimon.
She makes a comment that making the models makes her a neutral viewer because she goes so far as to even make a model of the scene of the accident where her daughter was decapitated.
Right, which is really weird. I thought it showed that model she made at some point, but...
So then you come to find out that Toni Collette didn't even want to have the son to begin with and tried to abort him without. She tried to have a MIS carriage, but he survived, and so she's always kind of what's that word? Resented him for being born.
Correct.
One of her sculptures is a whole weird house underground.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
With like the roof.
Yeah.
is weird, and it's just like a mismatched house, and it's all underground, and then on top of it,
in other words, there's a secret history to this household.
Yeah, and her secret psyche that's messed up is underground, and then on top of it is a boring looking, like plain old perfect house.
This is an SRA movie.
Yeah.
Totally.
So then the cult that has infiltrated like her grief group and everything.
That's her whole life. All of her. Yeah, they're controlling her.
Convinces her to do a seance to bring the demon when she thinks she's talking to her daughter.
Right. And this is interesting because this is a movie that shows that you're not contacting your beloved loved ones, and Sylvia Brown and Miss whoever, right? They're not talking to your dead pet.
Oh, yeah.
It's demons, dude.
Right. So the Joan and her witchcraft reveal the spell, and she tries to cast out Peter from his own body so that Paimon can come in.
She does.
Yeah.
She doesn't try. She does.
And then I guess Paimon brings riches and secret knowledge,
yeah.
and all sorts of benefits. Part of it was, the grandma's grave had been desecrated, and they were keeping that secret.
It's their version of a relic.
Yes.
It's a satanic relic.
And they put it in the attic so it can be ready for.
Well, they face it down worshiping. So the rotting corpses are the relics of the satanic cult. And you'll notice that the tree there, the film symbol is the tree of not a tree of life, but the tree of the bloodline of this lineage, right?
The family tree.
Family tree. And this is a generational SATANIC cult. And you'll notice that there was no point in the movie, this was interesting, because usually these kinds of movies, they bring in the Roman Catholic priest to do the exorcism. There's no references to God at all in this. It's all 100% purely, human attempts to deal with something way out of their league.
And part of the horror of the movie is that the first time you watch it, the viewer does not know if Toni Collette's crazy and doing all of this stuff, and that
spoiler alert.
that Gabriel Byrne is just trying to keep it together. So we don't know if it's supernatural or not.
Right. But it quickly becomes evident that this is a ritual cult movie, right? And very similar to, because it's producers of The Witch, very similar to what's in The Witch. But
so, I didn't notice this until like this time that we watched it. At the very end, when she floats up headless into the treehouse and the cult is there, and they have built this Paimon effigy, the little sister's head has been used to put on Paimon's head.
Well, the statue.
Yeah, I never noticed that before.
And it's weird because the statue is very intentionally Christ-like, but it's inverted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they explicitly say in their Paimon ritual that they reject the Trinity.
Yeah, they explicitly say we reject the Trinity, which is wild because you don't usually hear that, right? I mean, that's crazy. And that, I think, seals the deal that is this. It's almost an antichrist kind of thing, right? Because the figure that they're worshiping, the idol they're worshiping before Paimon comes, it looks like an alternate version of Christ. So it's an antichrist that they're worshiping. He has an orb and a crown.
Well, his staff has like a weird finger. It's creepy. But yeah, that's crazy. So
yeah, that's hereditary bloodlines of the intergenerational occult elite esoteric jibberjabber.com. What do you think of that?
Witchcraft.com.
So these movies all had a similar theme. They all showed us what really goes on in high society, Hollywood, the elite, the royals, right? What do you think?
Yeah, and maybe next time we'll talk about Babylon.
Oh yeah, we got to do Babylon. There was a lot going on in that movie. The new Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie movie about by the way, that I think it's not just about the transition from silent pictures to talkies. It's about the whole history of Hollywood and basically Hollywood being done. It's basically is what the movie seems like.
Well, also like getting down to the bottom level of how gross it is, because when they go
Right,
into the
when
dungeon,
they go to the dungeon,
there's levels that
Yeah,
to
what's
it.
really going on?
Yeah.
The Hollywood underworld, right? Yeah, I hope you guys like the show. If you would hit like and share, and you want to read these. By the way, I want to remind you guys that our show sponsor is Chalk.com. If you want to engage in hyper misogynistic, hyper masculinity, you definitely want Chalk.com. Head on over there and use the promo code J50 to get 50% off the Tomcat Ali, which is my favorite. I took Tomcat today, in fact, and it had me all woozy. Had me all, I was like, all right, wired. That's that Tomcat Ali right there. That is 100% rainforest source. Some of the best stuff that you can get in terms of male, just raw maleness.
Super male vitality.
Super male toxicity. And the She Legit Jamie loves. What do you think? What are the benefits of She Legit, Jamie? You talk about all the time.
She Legit is for like mental clarity,
Right.
and if you have a lot of studying to do, thinking, that is your thinking cap. So She Legit is great for that. I love
Ashwagandha.
the ashwagandha for mood. That literally,
Calms her down.
yeah.
When she starts getting agitated, I just pop 4 or 5 ashwagandhas down her mouth.
Well, and
2 in her nose. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Because I don't feel any other effects besides just being like feeling good and calm. Like sometimes when you take pills,
Yeah. Right.
you feel a little gross. But none of these pills ever made me feel a little gross. So it's awesome. I like the 7 Wonders. That's good for anybody and your uterus. All the mushrooms.
I did have a 7 Wonders in here, but she took it in there to take it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the 7 Wonders is good. She's taking that now, trying a new one. And then you take Irish Moss too for mood and stuff, right?
Yeah, for hormones
Yeah.
and vitamins and
Yeah.
minerals. The moss is good if you, because you need like 90 minerals or something that we don't get.
Well, that's the daily too. The daily is good for that overall that you need.
Yeah.
Head on over to chalk.com. There's also the Action 2.0. There's also the Stacks for Men, Stacks for Women. And if you want to use the promo code J60Life, J60Life, you actually get a bigger discount, and that's for the recurring subscription. So if you want to go ahead and set it up as a recurring subscription, do that. If you want to get ready to go to our next live event in Austin, February 11th, live with BG Cumby, one of the funniest guys out there, the philosopher of comedy. There is the link to the event, and get your tickets now. We're about a month out, so you've still got a month. And what else do we need to talk about? Oh yeah, philosophy course is out, guys. If you want to go ahead and get the philosophy course, you can sign up for that. The link is below at the Autonomy Marketplace. See that? New philosophy course is here. It's out. You can't beat that. Richard and I will go into a lot more detail with that. You can also support Richard by going over to Grand Theft World on Rockfin. Subscribe and follow Richard Grove on Twitter and as well on YouTube. And Rich and I will be doing an in-depth interview Monday night. So you want to read that super chat?
Which one? Kevin?
Nope, Kristen. Kristen right here.
Oh. Kristen, $5. Testing it because chat said there was an error with Streamlabs.
Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate that. You can always test the errors by giving money.
Okay.
Mel Yu, our biggest super chatter, keeps the show going.
Mel, you $100. Happy New Year. You guys make quality content and God willing keep it going for 2023. Thank you. We will do that.
As long as y'all keep getting me these sassy jackets, I'm going to keep going.
We're going to keep you in sparkle jackets. DC Customs, $5. Much love and congrats.
Oops.
On blowing up. Pop.
Are we blowing up? Thank you. Well, I guess we'll be on the Timcast and Lord V and Dr. Turley and all that. I guess that's blowing up. So, yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate that. We couldn't do it without you guys. So you guys are actually the blower-uppers. Y'all been dropping the bombs. I'm the bomb that y'all drop. Boom. Blowed up.
But not butt baby bombs.
Don't drop those.
No. The Real Cooter Brown, $10, and
DC Customs.
DC Customs, $5. 13 Floors would be good to review for its Gnostic element.
13 Floors or 13th Floor?
13.
13th Floor we have done because that's a Matrix, but not the Matrix, maybe.
Which
13th Floor.
was that? The one where they go out into the desert and it's a... Oh, okay.
But 13 Floors might be something different.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll have to look into it.
Okay. Real Cooter Brown, $10. Thank you.
It says silence.
Moment of silence. What is it?
BMX.
BMX 1966, $25. Merry Christmas, Jay, for last week.
Merry Orthodox Christmas. Thank you.
Captain Brunch, $2. Another amazing stream, Jay and Jamie. You both make a great analysis team. Have either of you seen The Lighthouse by Robert Eggers, and what did you think of it? Love it. Also, is the Bryson debate coming? Thanks.
I guess I'm gonna have to reach out to Bryson. I thought they were gonna set it up, but I don't know. So, by the way, yeah, guys, we covered The Lighthouse about a month or two ago. So if you didn't see our Lighthouse,
You and your fucking fart.
your fucking farts. How could you not remember me doing that? Not the farting, the line, right?
Yes.
Here it is. Look at this.
And they're wearing...
Of course we covered it. Look at this is meta, right? It's us covering us.
Okay.
Wait, that's not right. Now it won't show it. I've already X'd out the screen, but you get the idea. No, that's not it. Anyway, I'll put it in the chat right here. Here is us covering The Lighthouse. We did cover it. We went into the mythological Greek mythology elements, and I thought it was pretty gross. Again, I mean, kind of homoerotic and kind of gross. So, what did you think?
Disturbing, uncomfortable.
I'm tired of your fucking farts.
You really felt his like
Anger at the toots.
uncomfortable.
Anger at the toots.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a retelling of Greek mythology. So yeah, it was elements of it were good. Elements of it were.
Who's the one that gets his liver eaten? Prometheus?
Who what?
Who gets his liver eaten out?
I just went blank, but we covered it
Was
in
it Prometheus or?
No, it's not Prometheus. Prometheus is, I mean, there's a Promethean element, but I've forgotten already. Maybe you're right. I don't know. But if you would hit like and share, a lot of fun tonight. Thank you guys so much for those super chats. Keeps the show going. Support us by going over to the Rockfin and subscribing on Rockfin. Look for Jamie's new Rockfin podcast coming out soon. That's going to be fun. You can also get my books, Esoteric Hollywood 1 and 2, signed copies, and my new book, Meta Narratives, and my other new book, which is all of my books, all of my geopolitical philosophy essays in one 600-page book. The Red Book, not Carl Jung, not Mao, Jay Dyer's Red Book. Me, Carl Jung, and Mao Zedong. Red Books. What do you think of that? I'm in an elite class.
Yours is more pink though.
So you're saying that my Red Book is not even as up to par as Carl Jung and Mao Zedong?
No.
I'm a pinko. Well, there you have it. I'm not as masculine as Mao Zedong or Carl Jung.
Carl Jung.
That's why I'm young boomer. Jung boomer. What do you want to tell the people?
Merry Christmas and thank you for